Let's talk about our addiction to the approval of other people, the addiction of proving ourselves over and over again in order to feel worthy. In this video, I'm going to look at the science behind this, why we do it, the kind of mindset that tends to lend itself to this addiction to the approval of other people. Three really important ingredients that lead to a life that's thriving or not. And then 6 tips to help us disengage from this addiction to approval and start to lead more meaningful and happy lives. Welcome to Truth Bombs and Tea. I'm Tina. So, turns out that the science shows that getting approval from other people, which is external to us, so it's not derived from us, it's coming from outside sources, does not work. In fact, if you are externally motivated by like rewards or the approval of other people, your motivation will wane over time, your stress will increase, and your general fulfillment will diminish. So they're pretty good reasons to have a look and see whether you are addicted to proving yourself over and over again to different people and addicted to the approval of others, because that's not a great way to live. So science has shown that, okay, that external factors are not the way to go. So if that's not the way to go, what is? And of course, that's internal motivation. This is where the desires, the energy, the intention comes from within. And so it draws us forward. Think of it like this: external motivation is that typical donkey with the carrot hanging off the stick in eye line of the donkey, but he's never quite able to get there because as he moves forward to the carrot moves as well because it's on the stick with the string. That carrot somebody placed there. So this is an external kind of desire or an external kind of goal, okay? The stick someone's placed in their hand and is whacking the poor donkey in the backside, okay? So it's either pleasure or pain, but both of them are still forced onto the donkey by an external circumstance or person. And that's the addiction cycle of proving yourself to people and having them approve of you. We are the donkeys, and we either have the carrot, which is a promotion, a kind word, a prize, 20,000 Instagram followers, or we have the stick, which is the coercion, the threats, the punishments. Okay. And we can all agree that we look at the donkey and say, oh, that's terrible, the poor thing. That's no life to lead. And yet, at certain points of our life, we all lead that life as well. So, if internal motivation is the thing, how do we reach that? Well, there are two different mindsets, one that leads towards internal motivation and one that leads towards external addiction to approval of other people. So let's start with the addiction and the proving aspect. So it turns out that a fixed mindset is a mindset that is very rigid, that is full of extremes. So someone with a fixed mindset thinks things should be done this way. So you've got the shoulds, the have tos, that sort of language. So if you find yourself saying, I have to go home and make sure the house is spotless before my parents come. If you say, I should really call in to see my grandma, or, there's 1,000 different other things, but shoulds and have tos, and I can't do this and I can't do that. They are all languaging of fixed mindsets, which contributes to being addicted to external rewards and external approval and proving yourself. Another thing is extremities in fixed mindset. So it's either great or good enough, or it's hideous and horrible. You're either successful or you are a failure. It's either black or it's white. Okay. So that means that if you attempt something, like maybe you are learning the piano and you don't pick it up instantly or within a certain frame that you should pick it up by, you'll give it up. Okay. So extremities and rigidness are the hallmarks of fixed mindsets. And the rules and regulations are more important than the person. Okay. So that's why if you break the rule, you're naughty, or if you uphold the rules, you're the good person. So this is what leads to that vulnerability of being addicted to other people's approval. Okay. Whereas a growth mindset realizes that life is not rigid. Okay. There is shades of gray. It's not black and white. Life doesn't work out exactly in a straight line. There's spirals or waves. Okay. So a growth mindset realizes that everything is kind of experimental, that nothing is for certain and not everything can be controlled. So instead of saying, I should do this, should see my grandma, it's I'm choosing to see my grandma. Instead of saying, I have to go home and make the house spotless, it's about saying, I'm going to go home because I like a neat house. Instead of saying, I suck at the piano after 3 weeks, it's like, I've learned the basics and I've learned more than when I started, and I'm sure I will improve. One is open, creative, and problem solving, and the other one is restrictive and judgmental. Okay. And the great news is if you think, oh my God, I say should, have to, can't all the time, I've got a fixed mindset. That's okay. A lot of us do. But you can unlearn that and replace it with a growth mindset. But that's not what I'm going to touch on today, but I will do a whole separate video on that. Okay. But having a fixed mindset leaves you very, very, very vulnerable to having this addiction to approval and to proving yourself over and over that you're a good person, that you're worthy enough, that you're a great leader, that you are a good girl or a good boy. Okay, I'm just going to take a sip of my water. Okay. So the three basics that everyone has to have in order to have a life that's meaningful and where you thrive. And the first one is competence. So this isn't about perfectionism or, being the best of the best. What it is about having that bedrock where you know that whatever comes, you'll handle it. Okay. That whatever job is asked of you, you will deal with it in a good way. Doesn't have to be the best, doesn't have to be the best result, but you have that solid foundation where you know yourself and you know you're capable, okay? And that you're capable of learning as well. So you don't put that pressure on yourself that you have to be the best of the best. It's you are competent, you are solid within yourself. The second one is autonomy. So feeling that you are the captain of your own ship, that you make decisions that make you the author of your own life. Okay. And whilst sometimes those decisions may be taken a little skew-if away from us, like if you are an employee and your boss wants you to, work 2 hours overtime, you will feel the pressure of that, but you could still say no, for example. So really, in any given situation, we do have autonomy. We just have to, balance up the risk management that if we say to the boss we can't do it, they may react negatively. But in all instances, we have the autonomy. It's just that we can't control the outcome sometimes of our decisions. But we want to be able to feel like we make the major decisions and that we can shape our life. That's what autonomy is. And then the final one is relatedness. So this is about genuine, deep relationships, things that feel authentic, things that have some reciprocity to them. Okay. So it's not about the fact that you've got 21 million followers on Instagram, most of which, 99.9% of it, you don't even know those people. If that's what gives validation, that's very shaky ground. Okay. So this is about deep, genuine relationships with people who know you, have seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and they still know and love you because they have that growth mindset that says, nobody's perfect. Life isn't perfect. We're all on a journey. We're all learning together. So, those three things of competence, autonomy, and relatedness are three key factors that everyone who wants to thrive in life need. Okay. And spoiler, they all come from the inside. Okay. Not those external factors. If you find that throughout this, you're like, oh my goodness, like I do have this addiction and I have those, I have that languaging and I have that, that's okay. We all have it to a greater or lesser extent. And the good news is I'm going to give you 6 tips now to help to dissolve that addiction and replace it with healthier behaviors. Okay. So the first tip is be aware of it. So hopefully by now you either say, hey, I've got a good handle on this. I'm starting to develop a growth mindset, or you might be somewhere along the line of going, Jesus H. Christ, I am really addicted to proving myself and, getting the approval. And that's okay too. We're all on a journey and on a spectrum. But now that you know, I want you to do a quick exercise. So take a piece of paper, fold it in half. On the left-hand side, we say things that I have to prove. And these are all the shoulds and have tos. Write those down on the list. And on the right-hand side, we say things I am improving or things I improve on. Okay. So on that other side, the have tos might be have to go visit my grandma, have to go, have to tidy the house, should do this, should do that. So list all those down. And if you find that the right hand side, which is the things that you're improving on, like improving on learning the piano, improving on my time management skills, improving on meal prepping, whatever it is, okay? You'll find that the right hand side is generally the internal desires, things that actually matter to you and that you want to see happen, as opposed to the other side, which you kind of feel resentful about, and you're not, it drains your energy on one side of the list, you gain energy on the other side. So we look at that have to prove side, and we look at the things that we can literally dump, like we don't need to do anymore. So I want you to go through and do that. And then the things that are remaining, have a look and see if you can delegate some of those things. Does it really need to fall just on your shoulders all the time? Can you get some help with it? Can you outsource it? Can you get siblings, friends, co-workers, paid employees to do those things? Okay. And you should be left with a, very reduced list that is manageable. All right. So tip number 2, think about what success means to you. What's a successful life mean to you? What does a successful relationship mean to you? What does a successful career mean to you or job? Okay. Get clear on those things, because if you don't know what your version of success is, you'll constantly be living up to someone else's level of success. And this is where the addiction and the proving yourself comes again and again. When you know what success means to you, then internally you're going to have the energy to follow that to lead to your success. You're not going to have the energy to follow someone else's success plan. Okay. So get clear on your success. Number 2, develop the growth mindset. So start to change your language, and instead of saying, I have to do this and I should do that and I can't do this and I must do that, start to use other words like I choose to go and see my grandma and help her with her meds and lunch. Okay. I will tidy my house because I love a clean space, rather than I have to go because my mum's going to, comment on it or whatever. When you start to change your languaging, your brain hears it, okay, when you speak it out loud, and it starts to listen and develop new neural pathways. Okay. So develop that growth mindset and look out for that next article and video that I'm going to be doing in the near future. I'm just going to pause this for a second. I just had to have a sip of my water and have a little cough. Okay, so that's the growth mindset. The next one is, what do you stand for? So this sort of piggybacks on what does success look like, but it goes one level deeper. So what do you stand for? What do you really value in life? Okay. So if you don't know what you stand for and what you stand against, you're going to, fall for anything. You'll be swayed like a little cork that's bobbing around in a very turbulent ocean. When you know what's important and you know what you think success is, then you've got that real nice foundation and people can't sway you. And you're not going to be swayed by other people's versions of success and what other people value if it is in not compatible or in opposition to yours. But in order to have that foundation, you do need to know what you value. Like for me, my top 5 values are authenticity, truth, learning, creativity, and freedom. And because I know that, when somebody offers me something or tries to coerce me into something or whatever the case may be, if it doesn't have those things in it, or at least most of them, I can say no, or I can turn away quite easily. Okay. Because there's a famous saying that, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. And that is true. Okay, so part of the next one, which is tip number 5, is to reframe failure as just feedback. So the fixed mindset also tends to be a procrastinator and a perfectionist, right? And those two things are masking a fear, an underlying fear. And that fear is that you don't know yourself and you don't love yourself enough, right? So that's why you're judging yourself all the time. And we all do it. But again, I'm giving you these tips so that we can start to dissolve some of these sort of like ropes that bind us so that we can live in a more free and happy state. So rather than saying, oh, I suck at the piano after 3 weeks or a month, you can say, I'm learning the basics and I know a lot more than I did 3 weeks ago and I'm open to improving. Okay. So you see every bit of quote unquote failure as feedback rather than as failure. Okay. And the last one is really cultivate those relationships. Just like that list where I said dump or cull activities, sometimes you have to do that to relationships, right? If you find that relationships drain you instead of sustain you, if you find that you're reluctant to kind of visit these people or spend time with these people, that's an indicator, a very strong indicator. You want to cultivate and put the time and effort into relationships where people know and love you, that they have your back, that they want to see you grow and that they want the best for you. And because we all have the same at this stage 24 hours in a day, where are you going to invest those 24 hours? On people that don't care about you or that actually are frenemies or really want to see you, stub your toe and fall down? I don't think so. So cultivate those genuine relationships. And speaking of cultivating relationships, the number one relationship is the one with yourself. And I have written and designed a carefully crafted and curated workbook called the Truth Bomb Life Journal. And it is a part diary and confidant and bestie and part therapist. So it's Truth Bombs and Tea. It'll give you the truth bombs that will give you the ahas, but it also gives you the cup of tea to keep it all grounded and keep it genuine and comforting. So it's a great book, even if I do say so myself, that will help you really come into some understandings of yourself primarily of how you see life, how you relate to other people, and the role that love plays in your life. It's super simple. It's very powerful and transformative, so I highly recommend it. And I'm going to leave a link below so that you can check it out. There's a page all about it. You can have a read, but I highly recommend it because it is something that can be easily done, but will make such big inroads into the relationship you have with yourself and with other people that you come into contact with. So, on that note, until I speak to you again next time, let's make the rest of your life the very best of your life. Bye for now.